i3 Window Manager. Hey everyone, what's happening? And today I am telling you the reasons why. Hey everyone, what's happening? Today we'll talk about i3 Window Manager. Now I have been living in i3 Window Manager for about 2 weeks now. I haven't really logged into XFCE in a while. I've just been messing around with this, getting it configured. Now, I'm not completely done with it. We'll jump to my desktop in a minute. But we're going to talk about why I think i3 is one of the best tiling window managers to start out with as a beginner. I think it's the best mainly because it's so easy to get into. You have a default config file that it builds for you, so you don't have to pull down anyone else's configs if you want to go and find someone's config, or you don't have to build your own config like you have to do an Xmonad or i3WM from scratch, because all you get is a blank config file when you do that. Also, you don't have to be a programmer to configure it. Like in Xmonad, you have to know Haskell. i3WM, you have to know how to program in C to configure it. And even Derek's over on DistroTube's recommendation, Awesome, you have to know how to program somewhat in Lua to configure Awesome, even though they have a default config file as well. But if you ever want to modify it, you have to teach yourself some Lua. The config file in i3 is very, very straightforward. We're going to take a look at that in a second as well. I think this by far is one of the best window managers to get started with when you're going to a basic window manager. So let's go ahead and let's jump over to my desktop, take a look at it, and we're going to show you how I've got this configured at present, even though I'm not completely done. I don't think you're ever completely done on these things, but I've got a basic config file built. So we're going to take a look at it. So here I am on my desktop. I have screen key turned on so you can see what keys I'm pressing as far as key bindings go. First of all, I have D menu installed as my program launcher, so I'm going to, that's a super enter, and we're going to bring up Sunar. It might help if I can type, and we're going to go to my config file, and now config files are hidden, so I'll be a Control H to do that, and it'd be in .config right here, and then it'd be in i3, and it's this config file here, and I'm going to go ahead and open it in Atom. As you can see, Atom is right here. I don't know why my keyring is locked. I'm going to unlock this now. Now, as you can see, it tiled automatically Atom to the right side. Now, if I wanted to switch, I'd be a super left to switch to the one on the left. Super right switches it back to change my focus. Or I also have it on mouse focus as well. Now, to bring it to full, usually it's super F, but I have it super shift F for full screen, and it takes up all the real estate on my space, and we're going to go ahead and close this. As you can see, here we have is a config file. This is where all the key bindings and how it behaves is configured. Of course, you have my mod key, which is my super key. However, you can set this to the alt key, but I always suggest the super key. Of course, we got a bunch of comments here, and of course, and then we have a font set right here. Now, of course, I have set some key bindings for my volume keys right here. You have to code these out if you have a multimedia keyboard like me in an i3 environment. So check the documentation to do this. And of course, I have my screen brightness also configured. Now, this config file is very, very straightforward, as I mentioned before. To set a key binding, what you need to know is bind sim. And this means it's going to set a key binding so if I press that key combination, it will bring up a terminal. So as you can see, it says bind sim mod, $ mod, that means my super key, plus T, and then it says exec, which means it's going to execute a command, then the command, which is terminator, which is my terminal. So to start a terminal, all I would have to do is press super T. So let's go ahead, let's demonstrate that. So we got plus super, shift F to take it out of full screen, then mod T. And that is my terminal. Then I can go ahead and bring that to the front like that, in full screen, or I can go ahead and bring it back. Now, let's just say if I wanted to do like a master and stacked layout, all I have to do is we're going to go ahead and press mod V, and I would want it set, my focus set to the one on the right, then I do mod V, and then when I press mod T, it would, or super T, it will bring up another one, and then let's try it again, super T, and it brings it up like a stacked layout right there. Of course, I've got mod F4. My super F4 closes those windows. And if I want back to horizontal mode, there we go. And then it opens up again like that. So that is a simple key binding right there. So that's how you set a key binding. Now you can put like mod super plus whatever in it as well. You can make it 3 keys. Of course, I've got the kill, which is mod plus F4 kill. I think that's by default mod super, which is super shift Q. And then, of course, we have our change focus right here. And, of course, horizontal and vertical orientation. I plan on making a master and stack layout by default. I just haven't configured that yet. Of course, here's my full screen toggle, mod plus shift plus F. Now, if you're doing a plus the shift, it has to be a capital S at the beginning, or else it does not work. Of course, here's your change your container, which is change your windows. But I mean, it's pretty much straightforward. Now, also, let's just say you want to set something to start up at always when you start i3. Well, that is exec always. Now, my example, here's my wallpaper. I use nitrogen to set my wallpapers, so it's exec always, which means it starts up every time I start up i3. Now, of course, nitrogen -- restore, which restores whatever I set my wallpaper to previously. Then here I have like my auto start, which is Compton, which is my compositor, and I have my pulse audio tray as well. So really the only 2 things to get started that in configuring i3 you need to know is the bind sim, which sets a key binding to open up a program or execute a command, and your exec always, which is your auto start command. That's all you need to know. You don't need to know this programming language to configure your tiling window manager in i3. This is why I think it's the easiest to get started with, other than Awesome. Which Awesome is relatively easy. Lua is not that hard. But I think this is easier to get started. Let's go ahead and let's try some of these out. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to my workspace too. Of course, I've got Steam right here, which I press super G, and it'll bring up Steam right here. And of course, I have all this stuff. Then I can press super F4 like that. And of course, there it is. Of course, I got Firefox set as to super F. So there's my Firefox browser. So here's my Brave browser, which is super B. There it is. Let's see. Super O is my Office program, of course. We'll discard that. And of course, we've got all my files there. Matter of fact, those are scripts for other videos. But that's basically how i3 works. Of course, you've got your bar down here, which tells you your system status. Of course, you got a little system tray here for your tray icons. You have everything you could possibly need just to start out right out of the gate. So that is the basics of i3 Window Manager. I think I'm going to live in this for quite a while. and I'm going to build my config file to be all fancy and fat, of course, like every tiling window manager uses. But really, I honestly like it. I've used i3 in the past before. It's my favorite as far as tiling window managers goes, because it's just so damn easy to start up and get started and set up and configure to your heart's content. If you like this video, go ahead and give it that thumbs up. If you didn't, that's what that thumbs down button is for, and go ahead and click that subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one. If you like my content and wish to support my work, you can do so on Patreon. The link is in the description. Also, if you wish to see more, check out the videos on your screen.